Jake Simmons had been working on the frontier research vessel Orion's Edge for 3 years. He had seen many strange things during that time. Alien planets with purple skies, moons made entirely of ice, creatures that glowed in the dark. But nothing in his life had prepared him for what happened on that quiet afternoon on the Barren. Gray moon they were surveying. He was checking equipment near the base camp when he heard it. A terrible screaming sound cut through the thin atmosphere. Jake looked up and saw a small spacecraft falling from the sky. It was on fire. Moons on fire. Smoke trailed behind it like a dying comet. The ship hit the ground hard, carving a long trench through the gray dust. It finally stopped when it crashed against a large rock formation. Jake did not think. He did not wait for orders. He grabbed the emergency medical kit from his station and started running toward the wreckage. Behind him, he could hear people shouting. Commander Brooks was yelling something about protocol and safety. But Jake did not stop. Something inside him said that every second mattered. The crashed ship was small, maybe designed for 2 or 3 passengers. Its metal hull was torn open like paper. Smoke poured from the engines. Jake climbed through a gap in the wreckage, coughing as the smoke filled his lungs. The inside of the ship was dark and filled with sparks from broken wires. That was when he saw her. She was lying on the floor of the ship, half buried under fallen debris. Jake had never seen anyone like her before. Her skin was a beautiful silver blue color, smooth and soft-looking. Her hair was long and white, spread around her head like a halo. But her eyes were closed, and she was not moving. Jake pushed the debris aside and knelt next to her. That was when he saw the wound. A large piece of metal had cut deep into her abdomen. She was bleeding, but her blood was not red like human blood. It was violet, glowing faintly in the darkness of the wrecked ship. The violet liquid was pooling beneath her, and Jake knew she did not have much time. He pressed his hands against the wound, trying to slow the bleeding. Her skin was cool to the touch, not warm like a human. Her breathing was shallow and weak. Jake could feel her life slipping away under his fingers. Claire Donovan arrived a minute later. She was the ship's medic, a tough woman with short brown hair and no patience for nonsense. She pushed past Jake and ran her medical scanner over the alien woman. "Her vital signs are failing," Claire said. Her voice was calm but serious. "She has lost too much blood. Her body is going into shock. Can you give her a transfusion?" Jake asked. "Replace the blood she lost?" Claire shook her head. "I already checked. Her blood type is completely different from anything in our database. Our synthetic blood compounds are not compatible with her biology. If I give her the wrong type, it could kill her faster." Jake looked down at the dying alien. Her face was peaceful, almost like she was sleeping. She looked young, though he had no idea how to judge age for her species. All he knew was that she was dying, and he could not just watch it happen. "What about real blood?" he asked. "Human blood?" Claire stared at him like he had lost his mind. "Are you serious? We have no idea what human blood would do to her. It could poison her. It could cause her organs to fail. We do not know anything about her species. She is dying anyway," Jake said quietly. "If we do nothing, she dies for certain. If we try something, maybe she has a chance." Claire was silent for a long moment. Jake could see her thinking, weighing the risks. Finally, she let out a long breath. "This is insane," she said. "You know that, right?" "I know." Claire opened her medical kit and pulled out the equipment for a blood transfusion. Jake rolled up his sleeve without being asked. He had O-negative blood, the universal donor type. If any human blood had a chance of working, it would be his. The needle went into his arm, and Jake watched his dark red blood flow through the tube. Claire worked quickly, connecting the other end to the alien woman. the red human blood mixed with the glowing violet blood still in her system. For a terrible moment, nothing happened. Then the alien woman took a deep breath. Her chest rose and fell. The color seemed to return to her silver blue skin. Her wounds began to close, slowly at first, then faster than should have been possible. Jake watched in amazement as her body healed itself, using his blood as fuel. "That is impossible," Claire whispered. "Human blood should not be able to do that." But it was happening. Right in front of their eyes, more crew members arrived to help move the alien woman to the medical bay on the Orion's edge. Jake followed them, feeling dizzy from the blood loss, but refusing to rest. He needed to know if she would survive. They placed her on a bed in the medical bay and connected her to monitoring equipment. Her vital signs were stabilizing. Her breathing was stronger. The wound on her abdomen had closed completely, leaving only a faint scar. Commander Brooks entered the medical bay, his face a mixture of anger and confusion. He was a large man with gray hair and the kind of presence that made people stand up straight. "Someone want to explain to me what just happened?" he demanded. Jake was too tired to stand. He sat in a chair next to the alien woman's bed and looked up at his commander. "Her ship crashed. She was dying. I gave her my blood. She lived." Brooks looked at Claire for confirmation. The medic nodded slowly. "It should not have worked," Claire said. "But it did. His blood somehow triggered an accelerated healing response in her body. I have never seen anything like it." Brooks looked at the alien woman on the bed. She was sleeping peacefully now, her chest rising and falling in a steady rhythm. "Do we know who she is?" he asked. "Where she came from?" "Not yet," Claire replied. "But based on the design of her ship and her physical characteristics, I think she might be Lumineth. They are one of the most powerful species in this sector. Very advanced, very private. They do not usually interact with humans." Jake looked at the sleeping alien. In the soft light of the medical bay, she looked almost fragile. It was hard to believe she belonged to a powerful species. He did not know it yet, but his life had just changed forever. The blood flowing through her veins now connected them in ways he could not imagine. And when she woke up, everything would become much more complicated. Jake leaned back in his chair and closed his eyes. For now, she was alive. That was enough. Princess Valith Serana of the Lumineth Empire opened her eyes on the third day. The ceiling above her was unfamiliar. The sounds around her were strange. The smell of the air was different from anything she had known before. For a moment, she did not know where she was or what had happened. Then the memories came rushing back. The attack on her shuttle. The explosion that killed her guards. The desperate attempt to escape. The crash. The pain. The darkness that had tried to swallow her whole. She should be dead. She knew this with absolute certainty. The wound she had suffered was fatal. No Lumineth could survive such blood loss without immediate medical care from their own kind. Yet here she was, alive and breathing, lying in a bed on an alien ship. Valith sat up slowly. Her body felt different. Stronger in some ways, but also changed in ways she could not describe. There was something new flowing through her veins. Something warm and alive that had not been there before. It pulsed with every beat of her heart, filling her with an energy she did not recognize. A human woman entered the room. She had short brown hair and tired eyes. She stopped when she saw Valith sitting up and quickly checked the monitoring equipment. "You are awake," the woman said. "How do you feel?" Valith considered the question. "Different," she answered honestly. "What happened to me? How am I alive?" The woman hesitated before answering. "One of our crew members gave you a blood transfusion. His blood saved your life." Valith felt her heart stop for a moment. "He gave me his blood? A human gave me his blood?" Yes, his name is Jake Simmons. He found you in the wreckage and refused to let you die. The woman left to inform the others that their guest was awake. Valeth sat alone in the quiet room, trying to understand what she had just learned. Among her people, blood was sacred. It carried the essence of life itself. To give blood to another was the most intimate gift possible. It created a bond that could never be broken. She looked down at her hands. Her silver-blue skin seemed the same, but she could feel the difference inside. Human blood flowed through her now, mixed with her own. By the ancient laws of her people, this human male had claimed her, and she had claimed him. The door opened again, and a human male walked in. He was tall with brown hair and kind eyes. There were dark circles under his eyes, like he had not slept well. He stopped a few steps from her bed, looking uncertain. "Hi," he said awkwardly. "I am Jake. They told me you were awake. I wanted to see how you were doing." Valeth stared at him. This was the one. This was the human who had saved her life. She could feel it now, the connection between them. His heartbeat echoed faintly in her chest, a second rhythm beneath her own. "You gave me your blood," she said. Jake nodded. "Yeah, you were dying. It seemed like the only option. Do you understand what you have done?" He looked confused. "I saved your life. At least, I hope I did. You seem okay now." Valeth rose from the bed. Her legs were steady despite her long sleep. She walked toward him slowly, watching his face. He did not back away, even though she could see the uncertainty in his eyes. "Among my people, blood is sacred," she explained. "To give blood to another is the most powerful gift. It creates a bond that cannot be broken. By giving me your blood, you have tied your life to mine." Jake blinked. "I am sorry, what?" "By the ancient laws of the Lumineth, you have claimed me as yours." She placed her hand on his chest, feeling his heartbeat strong and steady beneath her palm. "And I have claimed you as mine. We are bonded now, Jake Simmons, forever." Jake stood very still. His face showed shock, confusion, and something else she could not identify. "Okay," he said slowly. "That is a lot to process." "You did not know," Valeth said. It was not a question. "No, I had no idea. I just did not want you to die." She smiled at him then. It was a small smile, but genuine. "That makes it even more meaningful. You saved me without expecting anything in return. You gave your blood freely, without knowing what it would cost you. What exactly does this bond mean?" Jake asked. "What happens now?" Valeth considered how to explain. Among her people, such bonds were rare and precious. They usually happened between partners who had known each other for many years. To bond with a stranger, an alien no less, was almost unheard of. "It means we are connected," she said. "I can feel your heartbeat inside me. Over time, I will be able to sense your emotions, perhaps even your thoughts. The bond will grow stronger the longer we are together." "And what about you?" Jake asked. "What does it mean for you?" "I am yours," she said simply. "In the eyes of my people, I belong to you now. Your protector, your partner, your chosen one." She paused and added, "And you belong to me." Jake ran a hand through his hair, looking overwhelmed. "This is insane. We just met. I do not even know your name. I am Valeth Serana, Princess of the Lumineth Empire, daughter of Emperor Kilfin." She watched his face pale at her words. "Does this change things?" "You are a princess?" Jake said weakly. "Of an empire?" "Yes, and now you are. Bonded to me? A regular human lieutenant on a research ship?" "Yes." Jake sat down heavily on a nearby chair. He looked like someone had just told him the universe was ending. Valeth found herself amused by his reaction. Humans were strange creatures, so expressive with their emotions. My father will not be pleased, she admitted. He had plans for my marriage, political alliances, treaties to be sealed. Great, Jake muttered. So an alien emperor is going to want me dead, perhaps. Valeth sat down across from him. But the bond is sacred. Even my father cannot break it without defying our oldest traditions. He may be angry, but he will have to accept it eventually. Jake looked at her for a long moment. She could feel his emotions through the new bond. Faint but present. Confusion. Fear. But also something warmer. Curiosity. Concern. A strange sense of responsibility. Are you okay with this? He asked finally. Being bonded to some random human you do not know? The question surprised her. In her world, her opinions on such matters rarely mattered. She was a princess. Her life belonged to her people and her duty. But this human was asking what she wanted. I am alive because of you, she said. Whatever comes next, I will face it at your side. That is more than I could have hoped for when I was dying in that wreckage. Jake nodded slowly. He did not look happy, but he did not look angry either. He looked like a man trying to accept a reality he never expected. Okay, he said. I guess we figure this out together then. Valeth smiled again. Together, she agreed. She did not tell him about the warmth spreading through her chest. She did not tell him that his blood had awakened something inside her, old powers that had been sleeping for generations. She did not tell him that she could already feel herself changing, becoming something new. There would be time for that later. For now, it was enough to know that she was not alone. 2 days passed on the Orion's Edge. Jake spent most of that time learning about Valeth and her people. She told him about the Lumineth Empire, one of the oldest and most powerful civilizations in the galaxy. She told him about their traditions, their culture, their belief that blood carried the essence of the soul. She told him about her father, the Emperor, and the political marriage he had arranged for her. Jake listened to everything. He asked questions. He tried to understand. The bond between them grew stronger with each passing hour. Sometimes he could feel her emotions like a faint echo in his mind. Her curiosity, her sadness, her strange new hope. Commander Brooks was not happy about the situation. A princess of a powerful alien empire bonded to one of his crew members was a diplomatic nightmare waiting to happen. He sent messages to Earth Command asking for guidance, but it would take weeks for any response to arrive. We should return her to her people, Brooks said during a meeting in his office, before this gets any more complicated. With respect, sir, Jake replied. She does not want to go back. Not yet. She was attacked by someone. Her own guards were killed. Until we know who tried to kill her, sending her back might be dangerous. Brooks rubbed his forehead. This is above my pay grade, Simmons. Way above. The alarm changed everything. It started as a distant beeping on the bridge. Then it became louder, more urgent. Jake and Brooks rushed to the command center where the crew was staring at the main view screen with pale faces. A ship had appeared. Not just any ship. This was a Lumineth warship, massive and gleaming with deadly beauty. It was 10 times the size of the Orion's Edge. Its hull was covered with weapons that looked powerful enough to destroy planets. They found us, Valeth whispered. She had followed Jake to the bridge, standing beside him as they watched the giant ship fill the screen. Lieutenant Amy Chun, the communications officer, turned from her station. They are hailing us, Commander. Put it through, Brooks ordered. The view screen flickered and changed. A Lumineth male appeared, tall and regal, with silver skin darker than Valeth's. His eyes were amber, cold and sharp like a predator. He wore armor that gleamed with embedded jewels and ancient symbols. I am High Commander Sethro Varath of the Lumineth Imperial Fleet, he announced. His voice was deep and commanding. You are harboring something that belongs to the Empire. Return Princess Valith immediately, and your ship will be allowed to leave in peace. Brooks stepped forward. I am Commander Nathan Brooks of the human research vessel Orion's Edge. The princess is our guest. She came to us injured, and we saved her life. We mean no disrespect to your empire. Your intentions do not interest me, Sethril replied coldly. The princess will be returned. This is not a request. Before Brooks could respond, Valith moved to stand in front of the view screen. Her chin was raised high, her golden eyes burning with defiance. Hello, Sethril, she said. Still doing my father's dirty work, I see. Sethril's expression flickered with surprise, then anger. Valith, you look well for someone who should be dead. Sorry to disappoint you. I suppose whoever hired those assassins did not do a thorough job. Jake watched the exchange carefully. There was history between these two, he could tell. Old wounds and bitter feelings. Come back willingly, and no one needs to be hurt, Sethril said. Your father is worried about you. My father sent you to collect me like a lost piece of property. Do not pretend he cares about my well-being. Valith's voice was ice. And you should know that I cannot come back. Not in the way you expect. What are you talking about? I have bonded, Sethril. The sacred rite has been completed. The silence that followed was heavy. Sethril's face went through several emotions. Shock, disbelief, then rage. You bonded with who? He demanded. There are no Lumineth males on that primitive ship. Not a Lumineth. Valith reached out and took Jake's hand, pulling him forward to stand beside her. A human. This human saved my life with his own blood. By every law of our people, he is mine and I am his. Sethril stared at Jake like he was looking at an insect. This creature? You bonded with this creature? His name is Jake Simmons. And yes, impossible. The sacred bond requires compatible blood. Human blood cannot, and yet it did. Valith squeezed Jake's hand. His blood flows through me now. I can feel his heartbeat in my chest. The bond is real, Sethril. You can scan me if you do not believe it. For a long moment, Sethril said nothing. His amber eyes moved from Valith to Jake, studying the human with cold hatred. Your father will never accept this, he finally said. A Lumineth princess bonded to an alien? A primitive species that has barely learned to travel between stars? It is an insult to our entire civilization. Then my father can come tell me himself. Valith's voice did not waver. Until then, I will stay with my bonded. As is my right. You would defy the Emperor? For this, I would defy anyone who tries to break a sacred bond. Even my father. Sethril's face twisted with anger. Very well. If you will not come willingly, I will take you by force. The humans on that ship are irrelevant. They will be dealt with. If you harm them, you harm me, Valith warned. My bonded is one of them. His crew is under my protection now. Your protection means nothing out here, princess. You have no power, no allies. Just a rusty human ship and a crew of primitives. Sethril smiled, and it was not a pleasant sight. Prepare for boarding. Anyone who resists will be killed. The transmission ended. The view screen returned to showing the massive warship hanging in space like a predator. Waiting to strike, Brooks turned to his crew. Battle stations. Everyone, arm yourselves. Amy looked up from her console. Sir, their weapons could destroy us in seconds. We cannot fight a Lumineth warship. We are not going to destroy their ship, Brooks replied grimly. We are going to make them work for every inch they take. No one takes a member of my crew without a fight. Jake looked at Valith. Her face was pale but determined. I am sorry, she whispered. I never meant to bring danger to your people. Not your fault, Jake replied. You did not ask to be attacked. You did not ask to crash. And you definitely did not ask me to give you my blood." He managed a small smile. "Besides, we humans are stubborn. We do not give up easily. You cannot defeat them. They are too strong. Maybe, but we can make them regret coming after us." The ship shuddered as the first shot hit them. The lights flickered. Alarms screamed. Somewhere in the distance, metal groaned and the stressed Jake pulled out his sidearm and checked that it was fully charged. "Stay close to me," he told Valeth. "Whatever happens, we face it together." She nodded, her golden eyes meeting his. Through their bond, he felt her fear and her gratitude. But most of all, he felt her trust. She believed in him, even though they had only known each other for days. He would not let her down. The Lumineth warship fired again and again. Each shot was precise and calculated. They were not trying to destroy the Orion's Edge. They were crippling it, taking away its ability to escape or call for help. The first volley disabled the engines. The ship lurched hard to one side, throwing people off their feet. Emergency lights bathed everything in red. The second volley destroyed the communication array, cutting them off from any hope of rescue. Jake helped Valeth to her feet as the ship stabilized. Around them, the crew was moving with purpose despite the chaos. These were researchers and scientists, not soldiers. But right now, they were all that stood between the Lumineth and their princess. Commander Brooks appeared in the corridor, a rifle in his hands. His face was grim but determined. "They will board through the main airlock," he said. "We have maybe 10 minutes to prepare. Everyone who can hold a weapon, get to the forward sections. We make our stand there." "Sir, I have an idea," said Sam Patterson, the chief engineer. He was a big man with rough hands and a clever mind. "We can rig some of the maintenance systems as traps. The Lumineth do not know our ship. We can use that. Do it. Whatever you need, make it happen." The crew scattered to prepare. Jake stayed with Valeth, guiding her toward the medical bay where Claire was setting up an emergency station. "You should hide," Jake told her. "If they cannot find you, they cannot take you." Valeth shook her head firmly. "I will not hide while others fight for me. I am the reason they are here. I should be the one facing them. If they capture you, everything we do here means nothing. If I hide like a coward, I am not worthy of the bond we share." Her golden eyes met his with fierce determination. "I stand with you, Jake, whatever happens." He wanted to argue, but he could feel her resolve through their bond. She would not change her mind. Instead, he handed her a spare pistol from the weapons locker. "Do you know how to use this?" She examined the weapon with interest. "It is primitive compared to Lumineth technology, but I think I can figure it out." Claire looked up from her medical supplies. "You two are insane, you know that?" "Probably," Jake admitted. "But we do not have many other options." The next 10 minutes were the longest of Jake's life. The crew transformed their research ship into a fortress. They barricaded corridors. They set traps at key junctions. They positioned themselves at choke points where the narrow halls would limit the Lumineth advantage. Then the airlock exploded inward. The Lumineth soldiers poured through the breach like silver ghosts. They were tall and graceful, moving with a speed that human eyes could barely follow. Their armor was sleek and advanced. Their weapons hummed with deadly energy. The first wave expected, terrified. Primitives ready to surrender. They did not expect the explosion that Sam had rigged at the entrance. 3 Lumineth soldiers went down before they even cleared the airlock, caught off guard by the primitive but effective trap. The others adapted quickly. They spread out, using their superior reflexes to dodge the fire from human weapons. But the corridors were narrow. The ship was unfamiliar, and the humans refused to retreat. Jake fired from behind a barricade, his shots forcing the Lumineth to take cover. Beside him, A young technician named Danny kept loading and reloading, his hands shaking but his aim steady enough. "They are too fast," Danny said. "I cannot hit them." "Then aim where they are going to be, not where they are," Jake replied. "Watch their patterns. They will dodge right every time." The battle spread through the ship. In the engineering section, Sam Patterson waited until a group of Lumineth entered before venting the atmosphere in that corridor. The aliens were pulled into space before they could react, their advanced armor useless against the vacuum dot in the medical bay. Claire defended her patients with a determination that surprised everyone, including herself. She took down 2 Lumineth soldiers with precise shots before they even knew she was a threat. But for every small victory, the humans paid a price. People fell. Good people who had never asked to be soldiers. The Lumineth were faster, stronger, and better equipped. Slowly, inevitably, they pushed deeper into the ship. Jake took a plasma bolt to his shoulder during a close fight in one of the corridors. The pain was incredible, like fire burning through his flesh. He fell against the wall, his weapon almost slipping from his grip. Valith was beside him instantly, her hands pressing against his wound. Through their bond, he felt her fear and her fury mixing together. "You are hurt," she said. "You need medical attention. Later." Jake forced himself to stand. Blood soaked through his uniform, but he could still move. He could still fight. "We have to keep moving. Sethril will be coming for you personally." They fell back to the cargo bay, one of the last defensible positions on the ship. A dozen humans had gathered there, all of them wounded, all of them exhausted. But none of them had given up. Commander Brooks was among them, a cut across his forehead bleeding into his eyes. He wiped the blood away and checked his weapon. "This is where we make our final stand," he said. "Whatever happens, we make them remember us." The cargo bay doors burst open. More Lumineth soldiers flooded in, surrounding them within seconds. The humans were outmatched and outnumbered. But they did not lower their weapons. Then Sethril himself entered. He walked through his soldiers like a king walking through his court, his amber eyes scanning the room until they found Valith and Jake. "Impressive," he said, his voice carrying a hint of genuine surprise. "Your primitives fought better than expected. They killed many of my soldiers." He stepped closer, his armor gleaming in the emergency lights. "But it was always going to end this way. You must have known that." Jake raised his weapon with his good arm. His hand was shaking from pain and blood loss, but he did not lower it. "Maybe," he said. "But you lost good soldiers today. For what?" "One woman who does not want to go with you. She is a princess of the Empire. Her wants are irrelevant. See, that is the difference between us." Jake managed a bloody smile. To humans, what someone wants actually matters. Sethril raised his own weapon, pointing it directly at Jake's head. "Your courage is admirable, but foolish. Say goodbye to your primitive bondmate, Valith. He dies now." "No." The voice was Valith's, but it was different, deeper, more powerful. Jake turned to look at her and felt his breath catch in his throat. She was glowing. Soft silver light radiated from her skin, growing brighter with each passing second. Her eyes were no longer just golden. They were burning like twin suns. The air around her crackled with energy that made the hair on Jake's arms stand up. "What is this?" Sethril demanded, taking a step back despite himself. "Your blood," Valith said, but she was looking at Jake. "Human blood. It woke something inside me, something that has been sleeping in my bloodline for generations." She raised her hand, and light gathered around her fingers like a storm waiting to break. "The old power. The gift of our ancestors. I thought it was just a legend." She turned to face Sethril, and her expression was terrible and beautiful. "You threatened my bonded, Sethril. You attacked his people. You tried to take me like I was property." The light around her exploded outward. Sethril screamed as the energy hit him, throwing him across the cargo bay like a leaf in a hurricane. His soldiers tried to run, but there was nowhere to go. The light swept through them, disabling their weapons, shorting out their armor, dropping them to the ground in helpless heaps. When it was over, Valeth stood in the center of the room, still glowing faintly. Every luminous soldier was unconscious. Sethril lay against the far wall, alive but unable to move. She turned back to Jake, and her eyes returned to their normal golden color. The light faded. She looked exhausted but alive. "Your strength is my strength now," she said softly. "The bond goes both ways." Then she collapsed into his arms. 3 weeks passed after the battle. The Orion's Edge drifted in space, too damaged to move under its own power. Sethril and his surviving soldiers were locked in the cargo hold, stripped of their weapons and armor. The crew worked day and night to repair what they could, but everyone knew they were stuck until help arrived. Jake's shoulder healed slowly. Claire did her best with the medical supplies they had, but it would leave a scar. He did not mind. Scars told stories, and this was a story worth remembering. Valeth spent most of her time resting. Using the old power had drained her completely, but each day she grew stronger. Each day the bond between her and Jake grew deeper. Sometimes they did not need words to communicate. A feeling, a thought, a shared emotion that passed between them like electricity. On the morning of the 22nd day, the sensors detected incoming ships. Not one ship, an entire fleet. Commander Brooks stared at the view screen with a mixture of dread and resignation. 12 Lumineth warships hung in the void, each one as massive and deadly as Sethril's vessel. At the center of the formation was something even larger, a ship that made the others look like toys. The Imperial flagship, Valeth said quietly. She had come to the bridge despite her weakness, standing beside Jake as she always did now. "My father is here. Is that good or bad?" Jake asked. "I honestly do not know." The communication screen activated without anyone touching it. The face that appeared was old and tired, with silver skin faded to pale gray and golden eyes dimmed by countless years. He wore robes of deep purple covered in symbols of authority. Even through the screen, his presence filled the room. "Father," Valeth said. "Daughter." Emperor Kilthan's voice was like ancient stone, heavy and unchanging. "You have caused considerable trouble. I survived an assassination attempt and found allies who protected me. If that is trouble, then yes, I suppose I have." The Emperor's eyes moved to Jake, studying him with an intensity that made Jake want to look away. But he forced himself to meet that ancient gaze without flinching. "This is the human?" Kilthan asked. "This is Jake Simmons," Valeth replied. "My bonded. Sethril's report says you bonded with him after he gave you his blood. Is this true?" "It is. He also claims your human blood awakened the old power in you, the gift that has been dormant in our bloodline for 3,000 years. Valeth nodded. "His blood changed something inside me. I do not fully understand it yet. But the power is real. I used it to defeat Sethril and save the humans on this ship." The Emperor was silent for a long moment. His face revealed nothing of what he was thinking. "The assassination attempt," he finally said. "Do you know who was responsible?" "I have suspicions, but no proof. I have proof." Kilthan's voice hardened. "Lord Maveth Tinril confessed this morning, after certain evidence was presented to him. He hired the assassins. He wanted you dead so his daughter could become my heir instead." Valeth closed her eyes. "Maveth, I trusted him. Many people trusted him. He will be executed tomorrow." The Emperor's gaze returned to Jake. "Human, step forward." Jake's heart was pounding, but he moved to stand directly in front of the view screen. The Emperor of the Lumineth studied him like a scientist studying a strange new specimen. Sethril called you primitives, Kilton said. He told me your species was barely worthy of notice. Yet his report also says you fought against impossible odds to protect my daughter. That you took wounds that should have killed you and continued fighting. That your crew of 47 scientists and researchers held off his trained soldiers for nearly an hour. We did what we had to do, Jake replied. Valeth was one of us. We protect our own. She was a stranger, an alien. You had no obligation to her. She was dying. That was enough. The Emperor considered this. And the bond. Do you accept it? Do you understand what it means to be bonded to a Lumineth princess? Jake glanced at Valeth. Through their connection, he felt her anxiety and her hope intertwined. She was afraid. Afraid that her father would reject the bond. Afraid that she would be forced to choose between her people and the man who had saved her life. I accept it, Jake said firmly. I did not know what I was doing when I gave her my blood. But I know now, and I would do it again. He looked directly into the Emperor's eyes. Valeth is mine, and I am hers. Whatever comes with that, I will face it. For the first time, something like respect flickered in Kilton's ancient eyes. Sethril was wrong about your species, the Emperor said slowly. You are not primitives. A primitive species would have surrendered. A primitive species would have sacrificed one person to save themselves. Your crew fought without hope, without any chance of victory, simply because it was the right thing to do. He turned his attention back to Valeth. The bond is recognized. By imperial decree, Jake Simmons is your bonded, with all the rights and responsibilities that entails. Valeth's relief washed through the bond like warm sunlight. Thank you, Father. Do not thank me yet. You will both return to the homeworld. Your human will need to be properly introduced to the court. There will be those who oppose this union. Political enemies who will try to use it against you. Let them try, Valeth said. They will learn that my bonded is not to be underestimated. Kilton almost smiled. Almost. There is also the matter of succession. You are my only heir, Valeth. Your children will one day rule the Empire. Jake felt his stomach drop. Children? Half human, half Lumineth children, the Emperor continued, ignoring Jake's reaction. It has never been done before. The scientists are very curious about what such a union might produce. Father, Valeth said, her cheeks flushing silver. Perhaps we could discuss this later? Very well. But I expect grandchildren eventually. I am old, and I would like to see the next generation before I join the Eternal Stars. The transmission ended, leaving Jake standing in stunned silence. Around him, the bridge crew was staring with expressions ranging from amazement to barely contained. Laughter. Commander Brooks cleared his throat. Well, Lieutenant Simmons, it seems you have quite the future ahead of you. I saved one alien's life, Jake muttered. Just one. How did it turn into all of this? Valeth took his hand, her fingers intertwining with his. Her smile was radiant, lighting up her silver-blue face. Welcome to the family, my bonded. Jake looked at her. This alien princess who had crashed into his life literally and figuratively. This woman whose blood now carried part of him inside her. This person who had fought beside him, trusted him, and claimed him as hers. He thought about everything that had led to this moment. One impulsive decision to save a life. One act of compassion that had changed everything. Now he was apparently married to royalty, destined to visit an alien empire, and expected to father the next generation of rulers. Claire's going to kill me, he said finally. Valeth laughed, and the sound was like starlight filling the room with warmth. Your medic friend has already threatened to give you a full physical examination every week to monitor the bond's effects, she said. I believe her exact words were, if you are going to do something this stupid, I am at least going to document it properly. Jake found himself laughing too. It was insane. All of it was completely insane. But somehow, standing here with Vila's hand in his, surrounded by his crew who had fought and bled beside him, it felt right. The Lumineth fleet escorted them to a repair station, where the Orion's Edge was restored to full function. The crew was offered the choice to return to human space or to accompany Jake and Valith to the Lumineth homeworld. Every single one of them chose to stay. Someone has to keep an eye on you, Claire told Jake. Besides, I have never seen an alien empire before. Should be interesting. As they traveled through space toward their new future, Jake stood at a viewport watching the stars stream past. Valith joined him, leaning against his shoulder. Do you regret it? She asked. Any of it? Jake thought about the question seriously. His old life was gone. Everything familiar had been replaced by something strange and unknown. He was bonded to an alien princess, heading toward a foreign empire, facing a future he could not predict. But he was alive. She was alive. And somehow, against all odds, they had found each other. No, he said honestly. I would do it all again. Vela smiled and pressed closer to him. Through their bond, he felt her happiness and her love wrapping around him like a warm blanket dot outside the viewport. The stars continued to shine, ancient and eternal, witnesses to the story of a human who saved an alien princess with his blood and changed the course of 2 civilizations forever. Some stories end with happily ever after. This one was just beginning.